A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Ashinsani Veerasinghe. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Central Bank cancels the license issued to ICICI Bank Limited in Sri Lanka. United States Secretary of State's visit to Sri Lanka is confirmed by the State Department in Washington. News in detail. The 20th Amendment Bill to the Constitution was passed in Parliament last night with 156 parliamentarians voting for the bill and 65 against it. Accordingly, the government secured the two-third majority in the 225-member legislature to pass the constitutional amendment, which would fortify the hand of the executive and restore the powers that were stripped from the president under the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. The two-day debate on the draft bill of the 20th Amendment commenced on Wednesday and continued till Thursday evening, and the vote took place around 7:30 p.m. yesterday. A separate vote on the clause that allows for dual citizens to enter Parliament took place before the final voting, and it also won the support of a majority of the lawmakers. The JVP-led National People's Power, the Tamil National Alliance and several other opposition parties voted against the bill. Justice Minister Ali Sabri, winding up the two-day debate, said that the government would introduce a new constitution within the next year and that it would be one that builds national unity and consensus among all communities. He also said that the 20th Amendment is an interim measure to enable the government to get on with its work and overcome the obstacles paved by 19th Amendment. With the support from 7 MPs from minorities and main opposition, Samagi Janabalawegaya Assistant Secretary MP Diana Gamage, the government secured the two-third majority in the 225-member legislature to pass the constitutional amendment. SLPP parliamentarians said that it would strengthen the hand of the executive and restore the powers that were stripped from the president under the 19th Amendment to the Constitution under the good governance regime. The opposition MPs who supported the bill were SJB Anuradhapura District MPs Ishaq Rahman and MS Tawfiq, Nationalist MP Diana Gamage, Diga Madulla MPs HMM Haris and Faisal Qasim, Badulla District MP A. Aravind Kumar, Sri Lanka Muslim Congress Batticaloa District MP Nazir Ahmad and Muslim National Alliance Putlam District MP Ali Sabri Rahim. However, former President and Polonnaruwa District SLPP MP Maithripala Sirisena, one of the main proponents of 19A, was a notable absentee for the vote. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who arrived in the parliament premises, was not seen inside the chambers during the vote.
පක්ෂව ඡන්ද 156යි විරුද්ධව ඡන්ද 65යි ඒ අනුව 20 වන ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධන නිමිති 50 කෙටුම්පත තුන්වෙනි වර කියවා සංශෝධන සහිතව සම්මත කරගත් බව දන්වනු කැමැත්තෙමි.
The Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, having considered the request made by the ICICI Bank Limited in India, has granted approval to close down business operations of ICICI Bank Limited in Sri Lanka and cancel the license issued to it. The central bank today announced that its monetary board, having considered the request made by the ICICI Bank Limited in India, was granted approval to close down business operations of ICICI Bank Limited in Sri Lanka and cancel the license issued to it in terms of the provisions of the Banking Act No. 30 of 1988, subject to several terms and conditions. Upon the Director of Bank Supervision being satisfied with ICICI Bank Limited complying with the terms and conditions imposed by the Monetary Board, the license issued to ICICI Bank Limited in Sri Lanka to carry on banking business will be cancelled with effect from today. Moving on, issuing the Monetary Policy Review for October 2020, the CBSL added that the unexpected COVID-19 cluster that has emerged recently could somewhat affect the momentum in the near term, but the expeditious measures that are being taken by the government to contain the spread could limit this impact. CBSL also noted that Sri Lanka has successfully settled the international sovereign bond of $1 billion matured in early October 2020, continuing the unblemished record on debt servicing. Moreover, CBSL added that gross official reserves were estimated at 6.7 billion US dollars at the end of September 2020, which provided an import cover of 4.6 months. Sri Lanka Tourism yesterday announced the launch of a novel approach to promote the island through a concept branded as Go on a Couch Safari, covering wildlife streams from our most popular national parks. Sri Lanka Tourism will be launching this initiative to promote country's wildlife amidst the recent sharp decline in tourism arrivals due to the global pandemic and flight restrictions. Explaining further on the Go on a Couch Safari program, Sri Lanka Tourism added that every year many elephants gather to the reservoirs inside Minneria and Kaudulla National Parks in the dry season, and that this unique experience will be streamed through Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau social media sites and an affiliated website from Minneria National Park as the first wildlife stream of the series. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority added that the general public and institutions could extend their support to the new national promotional initiative by sharing pre-event communication material published on social media and the live feed on their social media channels. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Kimali Fernando, added that selected overseas viewers would stand a chance to win free holiday packages. Moreover, the first streaming will take place on 4th of November, where the Minneria National Park would be explored online by viewers across the world. The project will go on for 8 days till the November 13th, and apart from Minneria National Park, Kaudulla, Udawalawe and Yala National Parks will also be featured. Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. The United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's visit to Sri Lanka and 3 other Asian countries next week was confirmed by the State Department in Washington. The U.S. Secretary says that the visit to Sri Lanka and other Asian countries will include a number of productive discussions with the friends and partners of the region. News that Pompeo will be in Colombo next week was unofficially released several days ago. The U.S. Embassy in Colombo, updating its website, revealed that the U.S. Secretary Pompeo will engage in an official tour in the Asian region between the October 25th to 30th. The embassy also added that the U.S. Secretary's travel to Colombo will highlight the commitment of the United States to a partnership with a strong, sovereign Sri Lanka and to advance the common goals for a free and open Indo-Pacific region. At the meantime, Pompeo himself, making a statement in his official Twitter page, said that he was expecting productive discussion with his friends and partners in the region. Pompeo's other destinations are India, the Maldives and Indonesia. The highlight of Pompeo's Asia tour will be the 3rd annual US-India 2+2 ministerial dialogue to advance the US-India Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership and expand cooperation to promote stability and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific and the world in New Delhi. The embassy statement also said that purpose of the visit to other Asian nations will be to reaffirm bilateral relationships and a free and open Indo-Pacific. The Export Development Board announces that Sri Lanka's exports in the first 9 months declined by nearly 18% to $9.7 million compared to $11.8 million recorded in the same period last year. Nevertheless, the EDB statement further added that on an average, the country's monthly exports, both merchandise and services, remained in the range of $1 billion to $1.3 billion US dollars amidst the unparalleled global economic slump due to COVID-19 pandemic. Accordingly, the statement highlights that the total exports, both merchandise and service, maintained at 9,693 million US dollars during January to September 2020 as against 11,784 million US dollars recorded for a similar period in the last year, accounting to 17.74 million US dollars decline. EDB Chairman Prabhash Subasinghe said, looking at the export figures from January through September, it is remarkable to see that our Sri Lankan exporters have performed well during the current global COVID-19 crisis. In the meantime, the total services exports stood at 2,292 million US dollars during January to September 2020, with the estimated figures for last 3 months as against the 2,911 million US dollars recorded for a similar period in 2019, recording around 21% decline. Thereby, ICT and Business Process Management sub-sector estimated to increase by around 8% from January to September, as it has a conducive environment globally with the rising demand for technological solutions and due to COVID-related consumer product developments. Merchandise exports foreign exchange earnings decreased by 16.85% during January to September, while manufactured goods such as coconut-based products, food and beverages, other export crops and petroleum products performed well. However, the major exports of the country such as apparel, tea, rubber-based products and electricals and electronic components declined drastically. Government Information Department announces that the COVID-19 cluster from Minuangoda went up to almost 3,500 by 6:30 p.m. this evening. Accordingly, 609 individuals were tested positive for the coronavirus today and almost 500 persons were reported from Paliagoda Fish Market. Government Information Department in its latest report said that 609 individuals were positive for the coronavirus during the day and 496 were from the Paliagoda Fish Market. 48 persons were identified from the quarantine centre, while another 20 individuals at the Beruwala Fisheries Harbour also shown positive for the virus. Health authorities announced that they also found 5 individuals from the Gaul Fisheries Harbour. However, Director General of Government Information Department Lanka Tourism said that the government has no plans to expand the quarantine curfew areas at the moment. The fisheries harbour in Beruwala has been closed off after 20 fish vendors were exposed to COVID-19 in the morning. Moreover, Beruwala Pradeshiya Sabha building and the Alutgama fish market were also temporarily closed. Nearly 700 fishermen, vendors and their contacts were referred to PCR tests today. Thereby, the police spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana added that 84 curfew violators were arrested yesterday and that 17 vehicles have been taken into custody. He furthermore added that the curfew imposed in 44 police divisions will be continued in the weekend. In the meantime, 309 COVID-19 patients were found in the country yesterday and most of them were related to the Paliagoda Fish Market cluster. Also, the country reported its 14th death from the novel coronavirus yesterday. A 50-year-old female from Kuliyapitiya had passed away while receiving treatment at the Infectious Diseases Hospital in Angoda. Moreover, 83 more patients who had previously tested positive for coronavirus have been discharged from hospital today after testing negative for the virus. Thus, this brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 3,644. Moreover, the government of China has provided 25,000 PCR test kits as a grant to Sri Lanka. The test kit supply is an extension of China's cooperation to Sri Lanka to control the spread of COVID-19 cases resurfacing in the country. Meanwhile, Parliament met today for a special debate on the current COVID situation and almost all the MPs joined in the debate. NPP MP Anura Kumar Dissanayake opening the debate suggested that the country should decide whether to keep the country running in a new normal situation where the COVID-19 pandemic is accepted as a reality which we have to deal with, or go in for a lockdown once again. Most of the speakers from the opposition suggested to increase the number of PCR tests conducting within a day. From the government side, Professor Channa Jayasumana said that the Brandex staff who were brought in from India on September 22nd did undergo the required 14 days quarantine under the supervision of relevant PHIs.
We know that the quarantine ordinance and the contagious diseases ordinance are both over 100 years old. The Union of Public Health Inspectors have written and said that those two pieces of legislation cannot cover. Last week I have handed over to the Secretary General a draft legislation. The government can have a look at it. You can make it your own law, make changes. But it's important that you do that because we really do not have even laws to impose curfew properly. What is being done, all of us have to go along with what is happening and responsibly we do that, but it is illegal. So quarantine, there is nothing called quarantine curfew, there is nothing called police curfew. If it is to be done properly, yes, Minister.
And I have gazetted all relevant legal...
That is the view that you have taken, but the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka, on a representation made by me, has written to the government saying that this is not being done lawfully. Do it lawfully is all that I am asking.
We'll be back with stock updates after this short break. Welcome back after the break. The trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a mixed note today. The all-share price index dropped 2.95 points to close at 5,768.94 and the S&P SL 20 gained 2.99 points to close at 2,297.88. The turnover was 1.7 billion rupees and over 105 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's all the news for today. See you again on Monday with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care. Have a good weekend.